Om Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, today we are going to read a very interesting story. Are you curious to know what the story is about? Well, let me tell you, it is a magical and mysterious one. And I'm sure that you students will find it a very enchanting story indeed. The Enchanted Pool. This is the chapter we are going to do today. Let me tell you something now about the author of the story, C. Rajagopalachari. Have you heard this name anywhere before? He was a very famous freedom fighter, an iconic figure in Indian politics and in the firmament of Indian life. He was a writer, a statesman, a lawyer, a historian, and he played all his roles with great panache. He was able to cover all these roles very successfully. But more than anything else, today he is remembered as the author of many famous books. He wrote many books based on the Upanishads, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Bhagavad Gita. And do you know, dear students, many generations of readers have grown up reading his books, and they have imbibed the values and traditions of our great cultural heritage. This was Sri C. Gopalachari for you. Even today, he lives on in his books. I hope one day you students too will go on to read these books and enjoy and benefit from them. The original Mahabharata was an epic that was written by Maharshi Vyasa many centuries ago. What exactly is an epic? An epic is a long poem which narrates the stories and adventures of heroes of ancient days. Do you like adventures? Do you enjoy reading adventures? I'm sure you do. So, the epic has got many stories of drama and action, but they are based on historical facts. They are not just stories, they are based on historical facts. An epic has many stories of action and drama, tragedy and comedy. It depicts every human emotion and situation: love and enmity, friendship, jealousy, betrayal, compassion, bravery, loyalty, and so on. Let me ask you one question, dear students. We know that Mahabharata is an epic, a Sanskrit epic. There is one more famous epic from our country. Can you name it? Yes, you have guessed right. It is a Ramayana, which was written by sage Valmiki. Okay, now we will go to the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is a story of the struggle between the Kauravas and Pandavas. I'm sure you might have heard of them sometime. Maybe your grandmother has told you some stories from the Mahabharata. The Kauravas and Pandavas were cousins, but they also became rivals for the fight to win over the kingdom. The kingdom rightfully belonged to the Pandavas, but the Kauravas tried to grab the kingdom by trickery and treachery. The Pandavas were the sons of King Pandu. King Pandu had two wives, Kunti and Madri. Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna were the sons of Kunti, while Nakula and Sahadev were the sons of Madri. Once it so happened that the Kauravas invited the Pandavas to a game of dice. They were challenged to play the game against their wishes, and finally, by cheating and deceit, the Kauravas won the game, as a result of which the Pandavas had to live in exile in the forest for 14 long for 13 long years. Now this story is set in the 12th year of their life in the forest. They were constantly moving from place to place. You can imagine, they were the royalty, they were living in luxury in palaces, but they had to suffer all the difficulties of living life in a forest without a shelter over their heads, without proper food and water. One day, they came to a place where they had to spend the day, and this story begins from that. So, shall I read out the story for you? Will you please look at your books while I read out the story? I will start with the introduction. In the Mahabharata, the Pandavas lost everything in the game of dice to the Kauravas and had to live in the forest for 12 years. During this period, they had to constantly move from place to place for safety and to meet their daily needs. One day, in the 12th year, the Pandava brothers wandered deep into the forest in pursuit of a deer. Here I give you some of the words for which the meanings are given. As you know, the chapter has got many words of which you might not know the meanings. So please go through these words when you see this again and remember the meanings. Then you will find it easy to follow the story. The sun was hot overhead, and the 5 brothers grew more and more weary and thirsty. Yudhishthira sank down under a tree to rest and said to Nakula, "Brother, climb that tree and see whether there is any pool or river nearby." Nakula climbed the tree, looked around and said, "At a little distance, I see water plants and cranes. There must certainly be water there." Yudhishthira sent him to fetch some water to drink. Nakula was glad when he got to the place and saw there was a pool. He was very thirsty himself and so thought of quenching his thirst first before taking water in the quiver for his brothers. The quiver is a case for holding arrows, and Nakula was supposed to fill the water in this case and take it for his brothers. But instead, what did he do? He was feeling so thirsty, he thought of quenching his thirst first. But no sooner did he dip his hand in the transparent water, he heard a voice which said, "Stop, Nakula, do not drink. This pool belongs to me. O son of Madri, answer my questions and then drink the water." Nakula was surprised, but carried away by his intense thirst, and heedless of the warnings, he knelt down and began to drink the water. At once, he felt terribly drowsy and he fell down, to all appearance dead. When Nakula did not return for a long time, Yudhishthira sent Sahadeva to see what the matter was. Sahadeva also ignored the warning. What did he do? He drank the water and at once dropped down. When Sahadeva too failed to return, Yudhishthira sent Arjuna to see whether the brothers had met with any danger. Arjuna went swiftly. He saw his brothers lying dead near the pool. Heartbroken with grief, he wanted to avenge their deaths. However, he too was overwhelmed by a monstrous thirst which compelled him towards a fatal pool. Again, the warning voice was heard. Answer my questions before you drink the water. This pool is mine. If you disobey me, you will follow your brothers. Arjuna became very angry. He cried, "Who are you? Come and stand up to me, and I will kill you." He shot sharp arrows in the direction of the voice. The invisible being laughed in scorn and said, "Your arrows can't touch me." Arjuna wanted to destroy this unseen foe, but first he had to quench his terrible thirst. So he drank the water and also fell down dead. After another anxious wait, Yudhishthira turned to Bhima. "Dear brother, even Arjuna, the great hero, hasn't returned. Something terrible must have happened to our brothers. Please find them quickly." Bhima hurried away without another word. Like Arjuna, Bhima also did not heed the warning and drank the water eagerly, glaring around in defiance. And instantly, his great strength seemed to slip from him like a garment, and he also fell dead among the brothers. Puzzled and worried that his brothers had not returned, Yudhishthira himself proceeded in the direction his brothers had taken. When he came near a pool, he saw his four brothers lying on the ground, to all appearances dead. He was shocked. He got into the pool to quench his thirst. At once, a voice without form warned him, "Your brothers died because they did not heed my words. Do not follow them. Answer my questions first, and then quench your thirst. This pool is mine." Yudhishthira knew that could be none other than the words of a yaksha, and guessed what had happened to his brothers. He saw a possible way of redeeming the situation. He said to the bodiless voice, "Please ask your questions." The voice put questions rapidly, one after the other. Now, dear students, I hope you enjoyed this part of the story. The following session, we will know what are the questions that were asked by the Yaksha to Yudhishthira and what happens thereafter. It is the most interesting part of the story. We will come to that in the next session. But in the meantime, we have for you the key points. I will read out the key points. Please look at your screen and listen carefully. One day, during their wanderings in the forest, the Pandava brothers became very tired and were extremely thirsty. They located a pool nearby, and Yudhishthira directed Nakula to collect some water from there. Nakula took his quiver to fill water and take it for his brothers. When Nakula reached the pool, he decided to quench his thirst first. He was about to sip some water when he was stopped by a voice. The voice said that the pool belonged to him. Before drinking the water, Nakula should answer some questions. Nakula did not heed the voice and proceeded to drink the water. The next moment, he fell dead. When Nakula did not return, Yudhishthira sent his brothers Sahadeva, Arjun, and Bhima one after the other. When they too did not return, Yudhishthira went in search of his brothers. He was shocked to find his four brothers lying dead near the pool. Feeling extremely thirsty, he went to the pool and was about to drink a sip of water. He was stopped and warned by the voice that if he drank the water without answering the questions, he would meet the same fate as his brothers. He understood that the voice belonged to a yaksha and he agreed to answer the questions put to him. He thought that by so doing, he could perhaps save his brothers too. Now, we have a small assignment for you students. Please go through this. Question 1. Find out the synonyms of the following words from the chapter. For example, the word bring means fetch, which is there in the book. Similarly, please find the synonyms for these words in your book. Tired, happy, sleepy, quickly, sadness, dress, forced, to make fun of, to save. The next question is, Arjuna and Yudhishthira responded differently to the yaksha's warning. Fill in the alphabets to know how they responded. Which of the above qualities do you think is important to succeed in life? The third question is, Yudhishthira was the last brother left alive. When he reached the pool, he had two choices before him. What were the choices? Please think carefully and answer these questions. Please send the answers by WhatsApp and we will come back to you with the right answers. Please read through this part of the chapter very carefully and enjoy. Thank you very much till we meet in our next session.